So I'm going to do a series of classes on the harmonious color schemes. So I made a list here. So there's 6 harmonious color schemes that artists use a lot in their work, painting and drawing, to make their paintings look harmonious. Color is hard to get a handle on, so sometimes it's easy to reach for one of these schemes. The schemes are not required, but a lot of artists use them. You can also use unharmonious color schemes on purpose. For example, you might want to use a harmonious color scheme for a garden full of flowers, but an unharmonious color scheme for a building on fire because it's an unharmonious picture. The harmonious color schemes look good together and create harmonies in the work. So the 6 harmonious color schemes are monochromatic, analogous, triadic, complementary, split complementary, and double complementary. Monochromatic uses 1 color, analogous 2 to 4 colors, triadic 3 colors, complement 2 colors, split complement 3 colors, double complement 4 colors. Each harmonious color scheme can use the colors in the scheme as well as whites, blacks, and grays, or tints, tones, and shades of that color. If you have 2 colors, it's called a color dyad, 3 colors, a color triad, and 4 colors, a color tetrad. I'm going to do a class on each of these separately. So the first one I'm going to do is monochromatic. Monochromatic is 1 color from the color wheel with tints, tones, and shades. So basically, I looked at my colored pencils and I tried to see what I had the most of, and I had the most greens. So I chose green. So I have a lot of different shades of green here, and black, white, and gray, and some regular pencils. So to get started, I am going to draw it in pencil. So I'm just using a black and white image. You can use anything. It doesn't have to be, excuse me, let me move this complicated. Like I tried to pick something with a lot of lights and darks, but you can use just a couple of spheres or cubes if you want to. So I'm going to try to do this. So the first thing I'm going to do is try to find the line of action of the figure. Okay, and then I'm just going to make a shape for the head, an oval. A line from shoulder to shoulder. So I'm trying to see the direction from shoulder to shoulder. I'm just making markings on my paper now to figure out where I'm going to kind of start my drawing. A line for the waist or the belt, kind of like a trapezoid type shape for the torso, an oval for the pelvis, I'm just doing it with the stick figure now, just trying to get everything in the right place before I start putting color on here. And I'm just trying to make the shapes. I'm not pressing very hard with the pencil I'm just trying to get some shapes in here that it will help me start drawing. And I'm getting my eraser out because I know I'm going to need it to erase some of the lines under. This is going to be more defined, but I'm just defining it kind of as in shapes now and then later going into detail. Okay. Now, her dress is kind of like half coming down over here, over this arm. And then, I know you can't really see it. I'm going to go darker in a second. I don't want to press hard because I know I'm going to have to erase. But you'll see it come into form. Okay, so this is kind of like her head. Okay, let me get some of this, erase some of this line work underneath. It'll get darker in a minute. Her hair. I guess it's okay if I have pencil marks on here. I'm being too perfectionist. Okay, so the neck kind of comes here to the arm. Okay, it's looking a little bit more like a person now. Okay, so now the hand is right here. I'm just going to make an oval for right now. Okay. And down here, let's see. This arm has a lot of folds in it. Or the fabric has a lot of folds in it. I'm just going to kind of make shapes at first. This is her other hand. So the green could be like a goddess type, color. I'm just making shapes for the different parts of the fingers. I chose something kind of hard. I guess because monochromatic is easy. You can choose something really easy for this, or you can draw along with the video. Okay. Okay, that's I'm kind of happy with that. So I'm going to come back and press a little bit harder and try to get more definite of a contour line. And notice I haven't put in any color yet. I don't know what artist this is by that I'm using for the reference. And again, I'm still not doing like original creative work. I may do that later. Right now, I'm just showing you skills, so I'm using artists as reference, but I just looked up Renaissance drawing. You could also choose objects. So if you have like a few red objects, like an apple, a red cup, a red vase, that could be what you would use for your monochromatic drawing to see them under the light. I do like Renaissance drawing, so that's why I chose this. And later, you can also use a grid. I'll try to do a video on using a grid another time. But if you're having trouble like looking at an image and drawing it, you can use a grid. There's other things that you can use too, like certain types of cameras that you can look through, but I've never tried those. And some people use projectors. I'm just erasing some of the lines underneath. And I'm changing, I mean, this is every layer, and with every layer I'm correcting. So this is not quite the right angle. So I'm kind of correcting the angle. No, that doesn't look right. What did I do here? Okay, so I'm gonna bring the belt out more. So this angle is correct. Okay. All right, so it's starting to look kind of like a person. try to get this curve of the dress. I'm all for being creative, and in harmonious color schemes and practicing those, we're being creative too, because the colors are not objective, they're subjective. But I do think it's important to have your skills down first, which is just a matter of practicing practicing and practicing. And giving yourself the time to sit down and work on each thing for a couple of hours at least. Okay. I'm still looking at the fingers in terms of shapes, and I'm still correcting. Okay. Okay, so this is going to be lower because I'm seeing more of her arm. Let's see if I can. Okay. This comes out more, so always correcting, always noticing things that need a little bit of change. Give me 1 second. So in this video, I'm probably just going to be blocking it in pencil, and maybe for another video. I'm not sure yet. I don't want to slap color on here. Well, I'm not sure. We'll see. Go for about 5 more minutes. I don't like to make the videos longer than half an hour. Now, I don't have to have every fold exactly the same. I just want to get kind of the idea and the direction, or that's what I'm going for right now. I can also correct with the colored pencil and erase it. So I haven't put in the eye. This is a bit challenging. Okay, so I have some different greens. I haven't done anything else on this. I just started a new video, so I'm going to get out a light, a medium, and a dark. And I can also use black, white, and gray. Where's the dark? Let me see what color this is. And let me try this one. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Okay, so I'm going to start with a green that's kind of dark, and I'm going to start with this area right here because this is the most done. And I'm going to use that. Though something's bothering me about the way I drew it. And I'm doing this so you can see the whole process of drawing. The belt is lower. There we go. So I know I could be going really fast, but I want you to be able to see the process of drawing and what happens and how you have to make corrections and go back and forth in your drawing. Okay, there we go. So I notice things all the time, and then I'm going to have to move this again. Let me leave that alone for right now, and let me focus on this area. So I'm going to come in with kind of the dark. And I will add black, white, and gray later. Right now, I'm just going to focus on green. So, I mean, the drawing takes a long time because you're making mistakes and you're fixing them. And it's very repetitive. It's very time consuming, but it is relaxing. I'm pressing a little harder with the pencil there. Okay. Now I'm seeing basically, let me go for a medium here. I'm trying to make a line for where it gets darker. And then I'll try to put in some of the line work. But it's not as dark as that little spot that I made. So I'm blocking in areas that are lighter and darker. This is an area on the dress. That's kind of it's kind of semi-shaded. And I'm gonna need to do some redrawing on the rest of it, but I'm just gonna focus on this area right now. Okay, right here. This is an area that's a little bit darker. And I do like doing fabric, especially to help learn shading. I think it's very helpful. And let's see what this light green looks like. I haven't even really tested it out. Say put that right here. Well, that kind of looks exactly the same. I have a lot of different colored pencils that are kind of different brands that are all kind of mushed together. So I'm gonna want a lighter green. So let's try this one. What does this look like? That looks the same. So let me try something else. I'm gonna try it over here where I'm kind of testing out. So what if I put some of this green down and then I added some white? It's not really making much of a difference. So I'm going to want to leave the really light areas as the white paper, right? Because it's kind of hard to lighten this. Okay, so now I'm going to start looking at some of the folds. And I'm looking at just for the lines that I'm seeing. And there's some shading in between the folds, but I'm just trying to get the line work down now. Okay, and some of these folds go over this, but this is the same color as this, so I'm going to get a darker green. For this edge, I'm going to bring that darker green to kind of outline this big dark line right here. And I'm going to try to do some blending with the colored pencils. Okay. Okay, so her face, let me do this little area right here. Okay, so what's going on here? I'm going to fix it. So I'm still correcting as I'm working because that was kind of a rough sketch that I made. It didn't have all the detail. So I'm going for more accurate detail now, although it's not exactly the same. And if I make a mistake, I'm just going to erase. So this has line and shading, and now we're adding just one color. And that's monochromatic is it's pretty simple, but when you get into more than one color, it gets a bit more challenging. So I'm now just drawing in colored pencil and kind of fixing the mistakes that I made. Or adding more detail. Okay, what's going on right here? And I mean, if there's some detail, I'm doing as much detail as I think is appropriate. I mean, I'm not putting in every single line because that's going to be too time consuming. But there's some people that are perfectionists that would do that. I'm getting it pretty close, but I mean, I'm not being a real obsessed person. Maybe trying to capture the essence would be a good way of saying it. Okay, so this is a dark. I'm gonna have to see if I have a darker green, but I'll do that later. And I can also add black or gray to the green to darken it and neutralize it. Okay. Now, okay, so there's her face, right? And her face is directly casting a shadow on her dress right here. We see the kind of an imitation of the shape of her chin. Actually, this goes up even more. So like I made a mistake right there. I made it too long and I'll worry about that later, but I'm just going to put in this cast shadow from her face. Okay. And it's actually, I mean, it's starting to look okay. I mean, it doesn't look great, but it might look better. Okay, so let's see. There's some areas in here that I'm going to shade in that are darker. This is not that dark, but I'm going to make it darker. That actually does look lighter than that medium. Hold on. Well, it's pretty similar. Hold on. Okay, so that now this is going to be shaded. What happened here? Oh, I went the wrong way. Oh my gosh. Okay. Let me get my black. Let me just enhance some of the darks with the black. So I make mistakes all the time. Sometimes I don't notice them because some of these things are kind of complicated, and then sometimes I do. Okay, that's looking better already. So let me go right here. So right here, the dark was in, so right here, it got inverted. So the dark was in here and it was lighter out here. And I don't know what possessed me to do that, but I'm going to go in here with the black. Sometimes the mistakes I make are so obvious. I'm like, how did I do that? And for that, that's how I am. Okay, so let's do some outlining up here. With some lines, which are folds. The black is really adding to it, I believe. Okay. Now, let me go into, there's more fabric up here. Oh, yeah. Okay. Even I get sometimes frustrated, but I like to do stuff that challenges me because, like, if I just keep too easy stuff, that's not really. Okay, so let's see if I can do this fabric. So there's a piece of fabric that comes up here. It's just a matter of taking your time. But even I get frustrated sometimes. And I choose sometimes hard things. Okay, is this arm longer? Yes. Okay. Okay. I sometimes get out of proportion, but I allow that to happen instead of using a grid. And sometimes I use a grid, so don't get me wrong, but I allow the drawing to get out of proportion. So I'll be able to see, to be able to correct it with my own eyes. And sometimes it's okay if it gets out of proportion. It doesn't really look weird. Like if a couple of folds are off, like that's no big deal, right? And it still looks okay, right? Or say you're doing a flower and you have an extra leaf, or you don't have as many leaves, like that's okay. As long as it looks okay as a finished piece of artwork. Okay, where am I? I'm getting a little lost here because there's so many folds. Okay. There's like some pieces of fabric that are hanging down from here. I don't know. Looks like they're ribbons or something. But anyway, if you don't use a grid and you're just correcting your mistakes, then you are learning. And it'll become easier and easier for you. You should also try using a grid though, especially if you're having a lot of trouble. Okay. Okay, I'm just taking a little minute to see, like, do I think what's is something out of proportion? Like, is the nose on the same line as the elbow? Yeah, it actually is. But I feel like the elbow should be a bit farther out. And as you can see, I'm not going in with colored pencil just yet. Okay, hold on. The hand seems to maybe be higher. So I'm making corrections right now, which I could have made before I started the colored pencil, but I'm making them now. So I do a lot of erasing. If I'm painting, which I'll do later, I do a lot of correcting. Okay, I don't know. That hand looks a little weird. Okay, so that's going to need more correcting. I'm actually correcting. I'm sorry. You probably want to see the color, but this is a part of the drawing too. I'm correcting the hair. And this is going to come out way more. So what am I needing to change here? I'm just trying to see. Okay. I'm going to come back into my color. This actually looks okay. And when you can mix the graphite and the colored pencil. Like, for example, if I wanted to shade this shadow, this is just a regular pencil under her face. I'm using just the regular pencil and blending it into the colored pencil as a gray, but it's not as dark as a black. Okay, so I'm going to take a look at her shoulder. Let me go for my dark green. Sorry, I'm just trying to see how long I've been doing, how much more time I have for this video. Okay, so I'm going to come here and kind of outline. No, it looked better before. Let's see how the colored pencil erases. Okay. So I'm going to put some shading on her body to give it more of a three-dimensional feel. So the whole thing is monochromatic. Later on, we can go into things that are partially like monochromatic and partially something else. But So the whole thing is just one color, which is green. Black, white, and gray, tints, tones, and shades. So even her skin is monochromatic as well. I'm trying to shade on her figure so that we can see some of the bones coming through, showing through the skin. Let me get my lighter green so I don't go too dark. I just want to erase this pencil mark one more time to get it off there. Okay, so here I'm going to come in with the lighter green. Okay, so this is her neck, but this is like another part of her neck. This is like a bone in her neck. This is a darker part of her neck. And this is her shoulder, which is also dark. And then here's a part of her neck where it's indented or going in a little bit. So it's darker. So it's lighter when it comes out and it's towards the light, and it's darker when it goes in. Okay, that may need another level of shading. I'm going to stop this video soon. Take a look at the belt. Okay, so it's light. I'm going to just draw with the green. Actually, sorry, I know I move around like that, but my eyes jump around and I see something else that needs attention. Okay, so let's look at the belt. I'm trying to correct or enhance the sketch lines that I made. Oh, I need to work on this area first. Okay, so I'm actually gonna stop and probably do a little. This is more of a medium, and I found a darker one as well. Okay, so I just kind of cleaned it up a little bit. Still needs more erasing. Okay, so you wouldn't have to see me sketch and erase and sketch and erase and sketch and erase. So let's see. Let's come over here. I'm just looking for lights and darks and folds in the fabric. At the beginning of this, I kind of focus on one or two colors, and then I go in and make adjustments. So I'm kind of finding big areas of darker value, and I'm just putting this medium green in there. I may add black to that later. Again, it's not perfect. I'm just doing my best. This is like a fold that's going behind this arm. Okay. I'm just going to work with this one color for right now, and then I'll go into some other colors. Okay. Actually, I'm going to get a dark as well. This is a darker green that I found. Let's see what this looks like. Okay. I'm kind of jumping around. This area is a little complicated. So let me come over here for a second. Okay. Okay, so this is like one big shape, but there's folds within that shape. So I'm going to try to, and I didn't draw those in. I just kind of drew in sketched in the big shapes. I'm not pressing that hard because I feel like I may have to erase. So I'm looking for areas that are darker. Over here, it's a bit lighter. So let me get one of my lighter. Let me try this one. What does this look like? There we go. I may add more to this. I'm just trying to get in big shapes of value right now. That looks a little chunky, but it'll look better later. Okay. Now I'm going to look at this shape, which is pretty light. So now I'm going to look for, there's a couple shadows in here. This needs work, but, and I'm going to erase some of these pencil lines because I changed them or corrected them. Okay, so I'm going to go around, okay? So over here, I'm going to try to blend that in a bit. Okay, so over here, I'm going to go lighter. These are folds in the dress. This is a dark area. So you're still using things like value and line, but now I am adding color. Sorry about the ice cream truck in the background. Okay. Now I'm gonna come over here, but I'm gonna come up to her head for a second. Let's see. I'm gonna go dark with the outline. And there's some shading on her face. This will need another layer, but just trying to get it started. I'm not pressing that hard because it's easy to mess up the face. Okay, I'm gonna look at her hair. Before that, I'm gonna put some shading right in here. Okay. And it's lighter in here, so I'm gonna go for a light. And still trying to use line work to get the strands. Hold on, let me see what time it is. Okay, I still have time. She has like, I don't know, curls, a hairdo of kind of a couple waves of hair curled around. Okay, I'm going to go light in here. I may add a medium later. And light right here. And on the bottom, I'm just trying to be really careful. I feel like I made her head kind of maybe a little bit too big, but we'll see. Maybe it's just the hair. I'm putting in shapes and correcting shapes. That's kind of like hair in the background. Okay, so here we go. I may come in later with a black to help define. It's kind of getting darker down here. Okay, I'm going to go light in the middle. Okay, I'm going to go light right here. I'm going to get my eraser and erase some of the pencil lines in the ear where I kept on sketching. Okay, so now I'm looking at the hair. Here. Okay, I want to do the arm, this area first before I go into that part of the hair. So here I fixed this a bit. I fixed the arm like 10 times. I still am not quite happy with the hand, so I may redraw that. But I think the arm is okay. Actually, it's not fat enough. Okay. Is that too fat? That's possibly too fat. So let me just focus on this area right now. Okay, so now this is going to need a lot more work. And what did I do here? No, it looks okay. I'm going to get the dark. Okay. Aha, so what happens here? There's another piece that comes down right here. There we go. Okay. I'm kind of changing the shape a bit. This goes around this. Okay, let me get a light, medium. Let me get a medium. This is still very crude, just kind of blocking in different values that I see. It needs more refining, but you have to start somewhere. Some more lines in here. Okay, it's starting to look a little bit better. It still needs a lot more refining. Okay. Hold on. Okay, so I'm going to come down here for a second. I'm going to try to deal with this area, which is a little bit, this is the most challenging area. Okay. But I'm just I try to be patient when I draw and I just do one piece at a time. Okay, there's that. I'm kind of still doing line work. Okay, let's try to look over at this piece. What is this? Okay. It's easy to get lost in these folds. And I'm still correcting. I'm going to erase this pencil mark right here. Okay. It's this piece. Okay, this is pretty dark, so I'm just going to to help me see where I'm going. I know this piece is pretty dark, so I'm going to just darken that in. Okay, let me erase this line. Okay, hold on. Then there's a line right here. I don't quite have this line right. And this is just leaving a little space in case I want to change the hand very dark. So I'm just going to darken the whole thing in. Can kind of see I'm on a piece of cardboard, but you can kind of see it showing through there. I'll fix that later. It was just more sturdy than the paper. Okay, now I'm going to erase this line. Okay. There we go. Okay. I'm just kind of, this is very sketchy. Okay. So again, layers. That's not as detailed. I mean, this is kind of more detailed. Okay, let me come over here. Hold on. I'm actually going to stop this video pretty soon, but I'm going to put in some of the darks here. Okay, I'm going to stop this and then come back. I'm going to come up here for a second and then work into here and then down here. It has a lot more subtle shading than I have here. So I'm trying to put some of that in. Yeah, it's a lot of work. Okay. Okay. That goes here, and then another piece comes out here. It's hard to keep track of all these folds. Okay, this is dark, or relatively dark. what's going on in here? This, yeah, this is correct. And then it's dark over here. I'm going to try to give it more gradations later, but just trying to get something down. Okay. And this is kind of going off the page, so I'm kind of imagining this part. All right. Am I ready to outline the hand? It's not, let me leave the hand till later. Okay, so let me come here for a second. This is really not quite right, but I'm going to keep going anyway. This doesn't look right to me. All right. I'm going to come right here and work over. This is too, I elongated this part too much. So I got out of proportion. I'm just trying to make this a little bit more realistic. I am leaving some of the white paper showing because it's hard to lighten colored pencil. If I was using paint, it really wouldn't matter. Sorry about that ice cream truck. It seems to keep driving by. Let me go a little bit lighter right here, or medium. So the shading wasn't very detailed before, so now I'm trying to make it a little bit more realistic. I'm not pressing that hard. I like the hard look, like right here, but I just want to make sure this looks all right before I go in and press a lot harder. Let me go lighter here, or medium. It's getting a little out of proportion from the picture I'm looking at, but it still looks like a dress. So in that case, I mean, like that's when you have to figure out, do you really want to, how much of a perfectionist do you want to be? Okay. I'm going to sharpen this. So still looking for things I need to fix. Okay. Trying to get a bit more detailed right now. Okay. Let me go, hold on. I have another light that's like a different color. It's like a sea foam, and then this is like a yellow green. Let me try the sea foam right here. Okay. And I'm trying to put the darks in over that because this is a relatively dark area. This still needs a lot of work. Okay, so let's see. There's a lot of folds within this. I don't know how much of that I'm going to do. No, what's in here? Okay. In here are a couple of folds as well. Again, if you're doing something as complicated as this, don't work your way up to this. You don't have to have everything perfect. Okay, right here. You just do your best. And this is a medium, so I'm going to go with a light here, as well as here. This needs more refining. Okay, I'm just looking. Okay, do I want to deal with the hand? Let's try it. It doesn't look perfect to me, but it looks okay. I was leaving it because I was thinking, well, maybe I'll work on it later. But let's just put it in there. It's not perfect, but it's okay. So I am outlining almost everything and then trying to put in shading. And this finger is kind of going in a different direction. I mean, I don't know. It's not perfect, that's for sure. The shading kind of makes it look round. And here it's darker. Let me go medium. Okay. Here it's darker. I mean, not horrible. It's not perfect either. Okay, so let me go into this area because there's a lot of darks. Okay. Here I'm pressing a bit harder with a different pencil. Trying to let layers show through. And let me get my black for a second. Oops, that's not my black. Okay, so here, this is really dark and it has a lot of fold. So let's see what happens if I come in here with the black. Again, you're trying things out when you're drawing and seeing how they look and if you like them. There's a lot of lines in this. Folds. I mean, I'm not even putting the half of them in there. And let me go really dark right here. Yeah, that's working. Okay. So here as well, this is pretty dark. It's a little lighter right here. So when I want to get really dark, I'm going to bring in the black. Okay. I'm putting in lights and darks, but I haven't really looked at them in terms of how they relate to each other, or how they relate to the drawing as a whole, right? So now this looks really dark and this looks really light, and it doesn't really kind of seem to fit together. Hold on. There's a shadow right here. I know I'm going all over the place. Sorry, that's just my habit. So I'm just trying to get areas that are darker, get shading. It's actually kind of looking okay. Let's see. I felt like I tried to make the arm fatter, but I think I made it too fat. So I'm changing the line one more time. I guess I'll just outline it and then see where it is. So okay. Yeah, that looks okay. Let me get this other green. Hold on. Not horrible, not perfect either. Okay, so let's try to take a look at these fingers here. Okay. This was pretty hard. Okay. Okay, this shape is bothering me. Okay, let's go here and here. And the thumb was bothering me as well. The hand looks too fat. Okay, let's leave that alone for now. I may want to change that, but let me put in some of this hair. I'm trying to figure out if that hand looks too big. And We're seeing a bit of the inner ear right here. Okay. Now, let's go medium. I haven't really put in some of the lighter medium. Let me go a little lighter. And this, I'm going to go a little darker right here, but this is still medium. And there's a dark right here. I'm going to make this whole thing light. It's going to need a little bit more adjusting. But, you know, for the most part, I mean, this is like way darker than everything else. So it needs to be like unified in terms of values, but I'm kind of happy with it. Okay, so let's see. There's shadows on the hand from the fingers. Just like the shadow from the chin. Okay, I'm going to stop this video here.